Hello students, today we will discuss the play Hairy Ape. We will discuss the summary of the play Hairy Ape. Below decks on an ocean liner, 1 hour out from its New York port, the firemen who powered the ship by stoking cold drink curse and sing, creating a defiant uproar. The strongest and most respected of the group is Robert Smith, known as Yank, who takes pride in his strength and in the ability of the crew to power the engines. Yank's shipmate Paddy, a wizened old Irishman, yearns for the days of the graceful clipper ships that plowed the Atlantic silently when men were in harmony with nature. A socialist agitator named Long curses the capitalist class that has forced the crew to slave for wages in the bowels of the ship. Rejecting these views, Yang sees himself as the mover of the world. On the ship's prominent deck, rich young heiress Mildred Douglas and her overly aroused aunt recline in deck chairs. Mildred is the spoiled daughter of a steel company president who chairs the liner's board of directors. She wants to visit the ship's stockhold to discover how the other half lives. Mildred aunts consider her interest in social service to be superficial and calls her as a poseur. Mildred responds that she is sincere and wants to help those in need. Dressed in white, she insists that the ship's officer take her below. When they reveal to Mildred the stalkers in all their brutality, she is repulsed and frightened at the sight of Yank, who is caught unaware by her presence. She cries out and faints. Later, Paddy remarks to Yank that the young woman looked as though she had seen a hairy ape. His identity and sense of belonging shattered, Yank vows to get even. When the ship returns to New York, Long attempts to channel Yank's hurt and fury against Mildred into rage against the ruling class. He shows Yank goods displayed in Fifth Avenue store windows, goods that will never be available to Yank, and he rails against the callous behavior of rich Sunday churchgoers. Unmoved at first, Yank becomes excited when he sees a coat made of monkey fur in a store window. It reminds him of Paddy's comment. He becomes further irritated when the men and women of Fifth Avenue ignore his hostile advances and seem not to see him. Maddened by the crowd's delighted cries at the sight of the monkey fur coat, he tries in vain to pull up a lamppost to use as a club. Not even punching a gentleman in the face brings him recognition. His arrest occurs only after the gentleman's accusation that Yank caused him to miss his bus. Jailed for 30 days on Blackwell's Island, Yank at first thinks he might be caged at the Jew. His fellow inmates, learning of Yank's anger at Mildred, suggest that he can gain revenge by joining the Wobblies, the Industrial Workers of the World (IWW). According to newspaper stories, the IWW is a tough gang whose members dynamite buildings and seek to destroy American society. Yank realizes that Mildred's father, the president of the Steel Trust, made the steel of the ship where he thought he belonged, as well as the steel that imprisons him in jail. Once he is freed from jail, Yank goes to the IWW office, believing that with his strength and purpose he will be useful to the group in its supposedly violent activities. After being welcomed by the IWW secretary, Yank assures the man that he is a regular guy and indicated that he is wise to them. The secretary tries to explain to him that the IWW activities are legal and above board. Yank continues, however, and when he boasts that he alone could blow up all the steel factories of the world, the union members decide he must be a spy from the Secret Service. They throw him out, and Yank discovers that he did not belong with them either. The despondent Yank is unsure where to turn. The ship no longer represents home. For him, society ignores him, and even the Wobblies have rejected him. He travels to the monkey house at the zoo to encounter his animal counterpart. At least the gorilla, he thinks, can dream of the past and of the jungle where it knows it belongs. Yang, by contrast, is homeless. Yang jimmies the lock and frees the gorilla. The two confront each other outside the cage. Yang offers a hand to his brother, but instead of shaking it, the beast envelops him in its arms, crushing him in a murderous hug, throwing the mortally injured man into the cage. The ape shuffles off with a final ironic effort to stand as a human being. Yang mockingly acknowledges the cage and dies. We find in the drama Yang is detached from home, though he says he belongs to the ship. This is quite ironical and has a satirical purpose. From the point of view of the author, he is satisfied with his present condition as a stalker. He is the dominating figure among the stalkers by virtue of his superior physical power. The first scene presents Yang as having a great faith in him and as having an equally great sense of belonging to the stockhole and the engine. He identifies himself with the steam and smoke and steel. I am smoke and express trains and steamers and factory whistles. I am what make iron into steel. Steel that stands for the whole thing, and I am steel. I am the muscles in steel, the punch behind it. Yang readily accepts man's new situation in the industrial world. However, he completely fails to realize that the great material progress has been achieved at the cost of his spiritual values, thereby sending man back to his primitive cave days, reducing him in the process to a hairy ape. Civilization has turned a vicious circle. The mechanical life has led to a loss of human identity. Yang, in his desire to belong, identifies himself with the smoke, with steel and the light. Then suddenly his illusion is broken and he is thoroughly confused. His disillusionment, be his sense of belongingness, is shattered when Mildred Douglas meets the stalker in the stockhole. Mildred is horrified by the environment of the stockhole and especially by the horrible ape-like appearance of Yang. She faints, but while being carried out of the stock, she remarks the filthy beast at Yang. Later on, Paddy, a fellow stalker, says she looked as if she had seen a great, hairy ape escape from the zoo. Yang feels flagrantly insulted and loses his sense of belonging and wants to take revenge on the girl by killing her. So far, he has been happy, complacent, and satisfied with the sense that he belonged to the ship and his co-workers were his social mates. But Mildred remark shakes the very foundation of his euphoria or sense of well-being. His feeling that he was the necessary and vital part of a social system. Yang wants to take revenge on the girl for his insult. He goes out to the Fifth Avenue to kill Mildred, but not finding her, he attacks people there and is arrested and put into prison. The words hairy ape haunts him in the prison. Lai feels like being an ape and tries to break open the prison bars. When he is released from prison, he goes to IWW, where he is rejected and ejected out of the office. Then he goes to the zoo and visits a gorilla put in cage. He tries to befriend him, calls him brother, and tries to embrace him. The gorilla crushes him and throws him into the cage before death. He invites people to look at him as an original hairy ape from the wilds. The hairy ape is thus centered on Yang's loss of faith and belief in himself, as well as in the world in which he lives. Yang, in his search for identity, discovers that he is alone, lonely, and the world is impossible to live in. And secondly, that still is no power within him, but a prison around him. Yang had thought that he was a creative element in the ship, the working man, but now it's all dark. And groping blindly, he asks, "Where do I get off? Say, where do I go from here?" Ironically enough, he ends up at the zoo and creeping close to the gorilla. He asks, "Aren't we both a member of the club, the Hairy Apes?" And as Doris Fox suggests, Yang surrenders himself to the only self-image of which he can be conscious, that symbolized by the ape and the cage. It is here that his sense of disillusionment is complete. From the time he was insulted by Mildred to the time of his death, he has been in search of identity to recover his sense of belongingness by overcoming his sense of isolation or alienation from society. But he failed. After his death, the writer comments that at last he found his identity and knew that he belonged to the ape's cage. From the account given above, the hairy ape may be considered through the tragedy of Yang and through his utter disillusionment about his having a solid sense of belonging, a dramatization of the human predicament in the modern age. Like Yang, every individual is having a false sense of belonging to his workplace, his home, and country, and is trying hard to keep up with the ideal that such a sense of belonging connotes. But in doing so, he actually goes through a process of disillusionment. He realizes that what he believes to have possessed, what he has worked for throughout his life, are all chimeras which seems to be constantly receding into the more distance. The more he approaches them, or the more they seem to be within his grasp. The drama has a strong grip on the psyche of the audience because every member of the audience comes to identify himself with Yang. The dramatist's extraordinary art makes it possible, and Yang's suffering serve to open his eternal eye to his own predicament. Though every man is not like Yang, a worker in the ship's stockhold, but he feels like being a Yang for the moment towards the close of the drama. Like Yang, he seems to be imprisoned within his own workplace. Like Yang, he seems to have some ideas about self-identity and belongingness. Like Yang, he suffers in his struggle for realizing his identity and ideals. Like Yang, he experiences an utter sense of isolation and alienation from his own workplace, his own home and society. He imaginatively foresees a tragic death in the condition of utter loneliness and alienation. Thank you. In the next class, we will discuss about the themes of the play